It takes some balls for a movie whose central premise so closely mimics that of Groundhog Day to directly reference the Harold Ramis joint. What if that, but with teens, goes the elevator pitch, or at least the one I imagined in my head. Yet Ian Samuel's The Map of Tiny Perfect Things isn't just that, at least not when taken in its entirety, despite how proudly it might wear its multiple influences on its multiple sleeves. It starts charmingly enough. Boy is in a time loop, boy likes random girl doesn't like boy forgets about random girl and finds another who is far more suited to him, who it turns out is also in the time loop. They grow closer as they embark on a task of mapping out every moment of cosmically perfect coincidence and synchronicity in their small town on the day of the time loop. Love ensues. Except it doesn't really, or at least not in the way that you're probably expecting. Because while it's clear that the two leads, played brilliantly by Catherine Newton and Kyle Allen, have strong feelings for each other, we've got some gosh darn emotional character development to get through before they inevitably kiss and break the time loop. Lev Grossman is the man behind the screenplay adapted from his own short story of the same name, and it's in the ideas that it explores that this movie begins to ascend beyond its own high-concept rom-com genre trappings. He replaces Bill Murray learning to be less of a bastard as he attempts to woo Andie MacDowell with character beats that are far more forgiving, perhaps to focus on the charm of his leads. Case in point, Alan's Mark is likeable at the beginning, and in the middle, and at the end. There really isn't much of an arc to him, more of a gentle curve. And as the movie shifts away from typical rom-com to an exploration of why these characters can't be together right now, he does get kind of an opportunity to change by reflecting on his own selfishness, but personally, I never found him that selfish to begin with. So his shift to character who asks his dad how unemployment is treating him, hugs his emotionally distant mother, and actually talks to his sister felt a little lightweight to me. It's the kind of character development one might expect to see in an 80s movie about kids trying to get back to their parents after getting involved in a scrape with thieves, the mafia, or potentially pirates. He's operating on the Goonies Home Alone level here, which is fine, that's an okay level. But it is Newton's Margaret who really brings the heat in this script, and where the movie gets an opportunity to hit its highest emotional notes. Her reason for not allowing herself to fall in love with Mark is rooted in a very serious unwillingness to let the day slip by. Where the loop to Mark represents the flippant nature of his own personality, for Margaret it represents a refusal to move on from a traumatic event that she knows is coming. It's a hard tonal shift for a movie that up until this point has felt very fun and floaty, yet Newton nails it. And once we as an audience understand why she can't allow herself to love him, it lends every increasingly romantic encounter between these two, up to and including the inevitable climax of the movie, a sincerity and emotiveness that they otherwise wouldn't have had. It's brilliantly executed. Genre trappings escaped. The production design also deserves a mention for the timeless quality it manages to achieve. It allows the movie to feel at once fresh and nostalgic. Wood-panelled basement video game dungeons with Night of the Living Dead posters on the wall, bright coloured t-shirts, travelling everywhere by bike. There's a retro, almost rustic vibe to the way that this is presented. And fittingly, for a movie about a time loop, it's sometimes very hard to tell what year the events are taking place in, despite the presence of smartphones. It's the compressed nature of these two people's timelines together writ large, a relationship that is perhaps years long in terms of days spent together, jammed into one that is at once past, present and future. It's a novel way of supporting the central conceit of the movie, and good fun to look at to boot. I don't think it was necessarily the intention of The Map of Tiny Perfect Things, although shooting did begin in a post-COVID landscape, but a movie about being stuck in place, unable to progress our lives or relationships, coming out during the latest of many national lockdowns in the midst of a global pandemic was panacea to me. And its hopeful message is an equally soothing balm, a promise that things might actually be okay in increasingly dark times. Whether this movie speaks to you on the same level that it spoke to me may well depend on how profoundly you feel the effects of treading water, but even without its timely message, this remains a really touching, somewhat bittersweet love story with a cool central concept and is well worth checking out. I've been Konrad, and I'll see you next time.